I'll give you a little background. My name is Anthony McDonald. The reason I got involved with the Stable.ca, I built the Stable.ca, my wife, was the same reason you missed the 2012 season, as you said, when the government canceled the slots at racetracks program. I was a driver in Ontario, and it really sunk in one day that we could lose everything. And coming from a moderate background, educationally speaking, I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I spoke at a rally at Queen's Park, and actually both parties, the NDP and the Conservatives, came down and asked me if I'd be willing to work with them in Guelph. To which I told them immediately no. I didn't want to work with any politicians. I just wanted to try and figure out what our future was going to look like here in Ontario for myself, my wife, who was expecting our first kid. Just like everybody else, when you're faced with losing your job and you don't really know what to do, you really lash out, and I didn't. I looked for a constructive way forward, and joining politics for me was a tough decision. It meant that I would potentially walk away from horse racing, but at the same time, the Stable.ca isn't just about Anthony and Amy McDonald. It's about the industry. It's about the young kids. I just spoke to a group of kids the other day at Flamborough, and I said to them, what we're doing is trying to make it easier for people to get into the industry, not just owners. I see 2 new clients here tonight, but also the kids. When I was a kid, everybody wanted to drive horses where I was from, Prince Edward Island. Everybody wanted to train horses. Everybody wanted to be in horse racing. You just don't see that anymore. Go find me one kid that's 15, 16 years old that wants to be a driver or a trainer. And what it is that our industry is eroding from the bottom up, and it's up to us, the horsemen, the breeders, the trainers, to actually build that back up. And what we've proven at the Stable.ca in 3 years is that there is a huge appetite for horse ownership out there. It just has to be done the way that groups like this are doing it. Getting people in for a modest amount of money where their comfort level is high and their trust level ends up growing, and they end up being friends as much as they end up being clients and colleagues. And that's what we've done at the stable. We have 300, as of this morning, we have 307 and 308 clients in 7 countries. And it's important for us to let the industry know that horse ownership is very much alive and well. When I knocked on doors in Guelph, when I was campaigning as the PC candidate in Guelph, I was always told the same thing. People loved horse racing, people loved horses, but they didn't go to the racetracks. They didn't gamble, and owning horses was too expensive. It was too complex. So I heard this over and over and over and over again. And for me, it took about 6,000 or 7,000 times probably, so I was a little stubborn on it, but either these people were all lying to me, or if we just made horse ownership easy and entertaining and affordable, people would come out. People would want to join whatever the name was that we were about to build. And as I lost the election, I gained a wealth of knowledge and information that nobody else has ever got in this industry before. I got to look people in the eye at their doorstep in a vulnerable way and hear the same thing over and over again. I would be involved with horse racing, except it's too complex and it's too expensive. So we fixed that. We went out and I drove all over North America, and I convinced farms to send us horses, my wife and I, to break and train down. We actually took equity out of our home, which is always a good thing to do. We took some equity out of our home to buy some horses, and it ended up being very well. The first crop of horses we had did okay. We had a nice 2-year-old Rose Run Speedster and some other horses that made the races. Then as the second season came along, we went from 77 clients to 190 clients. We ended up buying 40 babies, and they did pretty good. This year we had Lawmaker going into the Sire Stakes final in Pennsylvania. He was a number one horse in Pennsylvania. So little stable from Ontario, Canada, had the best horse in the state of Pennsylvania going into the finals. We had some nice horses in New York, Ohio, all those jurisdictions. And I had a blast. It was tough, People follow us on Facebook Live all the time, and I was everywhere all summer, but I loved it. So this year coming in, as of this morning, we have 20 babies already bought. We have 20 babies already bought, and 19 of them are all paid for. One of them was sent by a breeder, a private breeder this morning. There's a few shares left in 2 of them, and we're going to continue to buy horses throughout this season. The one thing that last year what we did was we relied on the good graces of the sales. And it was very, very stressful for me. A lot of the times when I went to Lexington, I would buy a horse knowing that we had clients that would be interested. But at that time, at that point in time, I didn't have an owner for that horse. And it was pretty stressful, and it worked out really well for us, but it's not something I planned on doing this year. So we have a lot of clients that are speaking on our behalf and really jumping in to buy horses. And to speak to what Howard said, we are in Ontario, but we're not an Ontario-based program. And what I mean by that is we're an internet program. And we buy horses in a very much value-based way. And I'm not after buying the best Ontario bred. I'm after trying to buy the horse in the sale that exhibits the most value. You look at conformation, breeding, and then we put a price on that horse. If that horse's price is less than what I believe it should be going for, we'll likely be bidding on that horse. And that's, for me, it's important because, as Howard was saying, it's extremely difficult to turn a profit in this industry. I have never once said to any of our clients, this is how we make money. This is how we'll turn a profit for you. What I always say is, the only thing I can guarantee you is at the end of this 8 or 9 months, you can't look back at the money you spent and the time you spent in our stable, talking to us, conversing with us, and being a part of the Stable.ca and not be happy. Not look at it and say, my for the amount of money I had invested in this entertainment enterprise, if you will, I wasn't absolutely happy with what I got. And for me, taking this industry back to where it began, away from taking it from the Sport of Kings back to the everyday people is exactly what is going to save this industry. We've proved it 307 times already, and we're going to continue to prove it over and over again. So if you want to ask me any questions, I see a lot of the people in here I know already. Feel free to ask me any questions, or anybody else on the stage. I think they're all going to be answered in the same manner. I would like to have one of our owners come up, and Kelly Spencer also. I'll have Kelly come up first, and she can explain to you exactly why she helps out, because as of now, she's a volunteer. I did not pay her to be here tonight or do anything in the past for us. So Kelly Spencer, for those of you who don't know, anything you see going on at Grand River Raceway, the wiener dog races, the face painting, all the stuff, that's her. Bouncy ponies, yeah. That's all her. So anybody that has ever worked hard, there's nobody works harder than her at getting people out to Grand River. What's that? Drag Queen Night, yeah, that's right. Blake won like second prize that night. It's a great job, right? So without further ado, here is Kelly Spencer.
Thanks, Anthony. My whole career summarized in those 2 events. Thank you very much. So I have been good friends with Anthony and Amy for a very long time, and I do work at Grand River Raceway in marketing. So I've marketed horse racing for 20 years, and at Grand River we try to pride ourselves on engagement. So engaging the audience and making sure that when they're there they have an extraordinary experience, which makes them come back for more. So my involvement with the stable is because of my friendship with Anthony and Amy, and frankly because it's exciting to me. It's invigorating. It's just fabulous. It's exactly what I want to see happen in horse racing, and then part of it is selfish. As a racetrack operator, I want atmosphere at my racetrack. Frankly, I want people there who are engaged because they have a horse in the race, and they're going to spend money on beer and programs and wagers and all of those things. So that's the reason for my involvement. And to watch this program, and frankly the other fractional ownership programs too. I'm fans of all of them because they remove the barriers for entry into the industry. They let you get your foot wet without a lot of risk, and that's exactly what we need. So kudos to you if you're considering this for the first time. It's fabulous. Any one of these 3 programs is amazing. The stable is very immersive in communication. So Anthony is an entertaining guy. I mean, everybody knows that. And he happens to have a very talented family who does a lot of video production and friends who are good communicators. So you will always know what's going on and be engaged in a meaningful way. I just wanted to share with you, we threw some testimonials out, and I know Garnet is going to speak as well, but we did a call for testimonials for a project, and as somebody who tries to engage somebody, somebody who tries to engage people as part of their career, I am frankly just always overwhelmed by how engaged our clients are. It's amazing. So we did a call out for testimonials literally at like 11:30 at night, which is usually when Anthony asks for something to be done. And you know, these testimonials start flying in. Like by the morning, we have like 55 testimonials. And I mean, I will read these and you'll think, she clearly made these up. Like these are way too colorful. No, I'm not going to read. No, I'm not Anthony. No, I'm not. I know. Right. 5. I have 5 short ones, all right? Okay. So, and I'm sharing these with you because I think they better summarize than anything I could say, certainly better than anything Anthony could say in a much shorter time. So I thank Anthony and Amy for starting this business. It has brought me more than any purse earnings could bring. And this is from a fellow who used to attend the races with his grandfather for several years, and then his grandfather passed away. He never owned a horse, but he was always a fan. And he had a distant relationship with his father. This is all in his testimonial. He had a distant relationship with his father, and once his father found out he owned part of this horse, then that was a talking point for them, and they began to communicate, and now he and his father, from whom he was estranged for 35 years, they have something they share. They share this passion, and the stable has actually brought them back together. So I thought that was amazing. It's not to make $1 million, but to be part of a potential winning team and have a fun conversation around the table and make you believe again in dreaming. Right? Amazing, right? What's the movie coming? It gets me, this is for you, it gets me back, Blake, into something I love. This model removes the risk but keeps the emotional thrill in place. I'm saving the best one for last. As a previous owner/trainer, I had lost the fun part of the game. I am once again involved in an industry I loved and lost. And that's a lot of our clients. A lot of our clients are people who did train horses on a full-time basis. They don't anymore for whatever reason. And this allows them to come back into the fray and experience all the great parts of racing without the risk or the stress. I know regardless, this is my favorite one and the last one, I know regardless of what percentage of a horse that I own, when I hand my license to security to get into the paddock, I feel like I own 100%. I walk into the paddock like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. And that summarizes the Stable.ca. So I encourage you, if you have, I hope that if you are here fishing, I hope that you walk away with involvement in at least one of these ventures, because they're all great and they all fill a very desperate need in their industry, and they will all provide you with amazing value. So I think Garnet is going to say a few words, and I'll hand off to him. That wasn't Garnet's testimonial.
Good evening. So my name's Garnet Barnsdale. I'm a gambler. I'm a racing fan. I'm a handicapper. You'll see my picks up on the screen tonight. I don't advise following those if you're here to make money. But I'm also a horse owner now, and we got involved with the stable. We bought a piece of a big, beautiful chestnut filly named Vintage Blues, who's taken her time to get to the races. But she's back training now, and she's a big, beautiful filly. And I think the reason why we do it is it's just so much fun. And I made quite a bit of money last month betting horses, which is a bit of a rarity these days. But the first thing I did was I went back and bought 3 more pieces of 3 horses, two of which my wife just found out last Saturday. But and I'm going to tell you how easy it is. And this is one of the main features of the stable. I was at lunch at work, and I open up Facebook, and I see Anthony at a sale on Facebook Live. And he's walking this DeJarmbro filly, big, beautiful brown filly, and he says he just bought her for $9,000. He likes her so much, he's keeping half. So if you want in on this filly, contact me now, and you can buy her at cost. You should probably leave the room for this, Kim. So seconds later, I got a hold of Anthony. I bought 5% of a filly. It's that easy. Now, I looked up her pedigree a little bit, but she looked good, and if he says he's keeping half of her, I have full confidence in these people. And you know, part of the main reason why is anytime you go to the stable, you see the whole family there working. We got there one morning, I think it was 6 o'clock in the morning, because Nick was going to help Anthony do a little bit of chores. And Amy McDonald was there mucking out stalls. You see these people, this is how... He wasn't. But... They don't get there at 6. We know that. 6:05. But, you know, so that's some of the main, so that's some of the main reasons why we do it. You know, we're really looking forward to the 3 that we just bought. And just to expand a little bit on that, we were at the stable this morning, and 2 of these babies were hooked, going around the track, jogging. They've only been in the stable for less than a week. So this is the kind of experience that you can have. And you're being kept up to date on Facebook and on social media all the time, because Anthony's a genius with this stuff. And I'm not just saying that. He uses all available venues to keep everybody updated. And you can get a hold of him anytime, Facebook, email. And I guess one of the other things that's really good about it is everything's automated. So if you own shares in your horses, you have a login, you go onto their website, you open it up, you see exactly how many shares you own. Each month you get a bill, it details what your bill is, and you can just send them an email money transfer and pay it. It's as simple as that. So a lot of it's very modern, but a lot of it is very basic, you know, basic way people want to see horses raced and trained. So they're right down the street here at Tomiko, and speaking from experience, people are welcome anytime. All owners are welcome anytime, and I'm not just saying that. They make you feel welcome.